day like last Tuesday.
The big news.
News? What news?
Sorry.
What?
All right, Lane. But this is beyond news. This is like Pearl Harbor or the Kennedy assassination. It's like not even news. It's total shock.
Oh, come on, Jerry, please, 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 please.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday Newsday 5/20. What is it? The 28th? Yes, it is the 28th of May. It is our second to last one of the year. So, just kind of a quick recap. Much of this should look familiar to you. Our learning goal today is to determine two or more central ideas of a text and analyze how they develop over the course of that text, including how they interact and build on one another. A 4 means that you can identify the central ideas of the text, the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point, and how the ideas build on one another. A 3 means that you can identify the central ideas and the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point. A 2 means you can identify the central ideas, but you're not really able to identify the evidence or point to the in-text moments that lead to that central idea. And a 1 means that you are unsure of how to find the central idea. To receive a unit and a half for today's class, you must highlight or underline the main idea, circle the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point, and put a box around any other central ideas in the text. The 4 skills that we'll be working on today are, number 1, to identify the topic. Remember that the topic is not the main idea. We want to be able to summarize the story. Usually, if you can summarize the story in 10 to 12 words, you're getting to the crux of the issue. The first and last sentence are typically important. The first is used to introduce the main idea, and the last is used to recap. And then those repeated ideas. If the author is willing to repeat something many times, it's probably important and leads us to that central idea that the author wants us to get to. Our article today is called How Colleges Are Preparing Students for Jobs That Don't Exist Yet, written for the previous news hour on the 24th of May. And it begins this way. 85% of the jobs that today's students will do in 2030 don't exist yet, the Institute for the Future has predicted. That might seem like a high number to reach in only 11 years, but think about the now mainstream careers that did not exist just a handful of years ago. Drone operator, social media manager, app developer, and cloud computing engineer, among others. Even if that 85% is ultimately smaller, the number begs an important question about how the workforce is preparing for the future, starting in the classroom. What role should colleges and universities play in preparing students for a workplace that is constantly changing? Educational institutions are trying to answer that question, largely by adapting their programs to better suit the ever-shifting work landscape. Here are some of the approaches they're taking. And the headline here is, throw out the idea of matching degrees with jobs. There's often a disconnect between what you learned in college and what you do in the workforce. In 2013, a Federal Reserve researcher found that 27% of college graduates were working in a job that matched their college major. 38% were in jobs that did not require a college degree at all. That is not to say that college degrees and the knowledge that comes with them are not worth earning. By 2020, 65% of all jobs will require at least some education beyond a high school degree, according to Georgetown University's Center on Education in the Workforce. That's true despite several companies, including Google and Apple, that recently announced they will no longer require a degree. Many colleges have grappled with whether to focus on cutting-edge technical skills in their programs. In the 1800s and earlier, colleges were largely focused on teaching a broad swath of liberal arts, including ancient languages, religion, and philosophy. That tradition continued even as colleges shifted at the turn of the century toward more specialized and vocational education. The popularity of career and technical education started to decline in the 1980s, but there has been an increase in attention to and funding for skill-based programs in the past decade, according to the Brookings Institute. The number of post-secondary institutions that offered vocational programs increased 16% between 2003 and 2015. Today, about 12.5 million high school and college students are enrolled in at least one career and technical education course, according to the nonprofit Advanced CTE. The problem is many of those programs only train people for jobs that exist today. With the rapid rate of change, the skills they teach could be obsolete within several years. While some universities are embracing the technical skills model, others see an opportunity to stand out as institutions that teach students quote-unquote soft skills, such as problem solving or the ability to work in a team, that are useful not only for the jobs of today, but for whatever the future might bring. And in a world where not only universities but private companies are getting into the education game, the pressure to keep up is stronger than ever. Headline here: Stop thinking about college as a 4-year linear journey. Those who study the intersection of education and the future of work say the 4-year learning model needs to be rethought in a big way. They say education can no longer be seen as something that stops when a person graduates from college. Jonathan Blake Hewer, an education professional who consults with colleges to address the needs of the changing workforce, said he imagines a world where college is not 4 consecutive years at all. I would prefer if the education system is more fluid so students can go in and out of it, he said. If students could take a year or two of school, get a job, then return to school a few years later, Hewer said, the education system would offer true lifelong learning and better adapt to changing technology. In the meantime, online programs are filling in the gaps. Universities are offering more online courses. Private companies such as LinkedIn Learning, which absorbed Lydia.com, are also teaching people new skills through online videos and via subscription services. So the solution to training people for jobs for the future? Don't. At least to a point. We can't possibly prepare people for all the jobs that are ahead, said Brandon Bustede, the president of Kaplan University Partners, which supports U.S. colleges and universities in adapting to the changing world. What we need to start doing is creating and scaffolding to create an ecosystem where people are constantly being educated and retooled to stay relevant in their jobs. The good news, Bustede said, is that our education systems have been forced to adapt to major disruptions in the past, and it's likely they will figure out how to do so again. Some universities are already trying to make the shift. Fewer employers are willing to train people on the job than they were 50 years ago. A government report found employer-sponsored training fell 42% between 1996 and 2008, largely as part of an effort to cut costs. Internships, which many colleges already offer, appear to be the new kind of training program, though Bustede said universities could do more to integrate them as part of the students' graduation requirements. At the University of Utah, the new Degree Plus program seeks to fill the job skills gap. It offers 8-week courses intended as an add-on to a student's main degree. The courses include data analysis, web design, and digital marketing, all taught by industry professionals. The goal was to take a foundational degree and recognize that if you pair it with something more concentrated and technical, it can open up more opportunities, said Andrea Miller, the University of Utah's Director of Professional Education. It is additional work and an additional cost, but Miller said that many students find the added value is worth it. Anthropology majors could benefit from understanding data analysis, for example. Students studying political science could see value in understanding content management or marketing, give them a leg up when looking for jobs or getting a promotion a few years down the road. The model is similar to badge programs, which aim to give students a certificate showing that they know a skill that employers might find useful. As the job market changes, the University of Utah also plans to eliminate and add courses more frequently. That rapid response mentality is easier done in a supplemental program such as a degree plus than it is in a more established years-long programs taught by professors who offer a deep base of knowledge but aren't necessarily focused on workplace practices. Headline here, making the classroom more like the office. Other institutions are trying to mimic the workplace within traditional classrooms. Several public colleges have partnered with private companies, such as the software company Adobe, to integrate their products into the classroom. Professors at schools who partner with the company are encouraged to use the product for atypical assignments, such as reinterpreting poems using video. Students at the University of Central Florida have used the software to design 3D printed limbs. These colleges are teaching digital communication and creative problem solving with assignments that ask students to understand problems, find solutions, and then take action, said Tacey Trowbridge, head of Adobe's global education programs. The idea is that students learn how to create a project that can be used in the real world, drawing on the skills a student would need in a business rather than those they'd use for taking a test. They also learn the soft skills that employers say are increasingly difficult to find in a job candidate. The University of California, Berkeley is another school that is trying to foster student-driven pursuits, which may not have traditional professional outlets. Students there can design their own courses, such as blockchain fundamentals and impact of AI, a class that explores various economic, social, and ethical challenges facing AI. In addition to allowing students to study subjects not taught in a standard university class, the DCAL, short for Democratic Education at Cal, program is designed to foster creativity, a skill that could be valuable in any job market. We're not just about preparing kids for work, said Jen Stringer, a chief academic technology officer at the University of California, Berkeley. We hope we are preparing them to have a huge impact on society in some way. That way, she said, they will not only be prepared for whatever the job market looks like in 10, 20, or 50 years, they will be the ones shaping it. So here we are back at the worksheet. I am running out of time here in the length of my video, so I'm not going to go through them. However, I do feel that because it has been months that we've been doing this, I think that you're able to identify the topic, summarize the story, identify the first and last sentences, and identify those repeated ideas. And I think that because you're able to do that, you're also able to get to the main idea of the article. And so, as we close out for today's video, I would like to just say, for the second to last time of the year, ciao for now.